Well, President Trump just signed an executive order overhauling how the country administers elections. And Jessica Huseman is the editorial director of VoteBeat. That's a nonpartisan news organization that focuses on voting access and election administration. And Jessica joins us live to discuss the president's executive order, what it entails, and the legal challenges it could face. We're going to try to get that all in. Jessica, thanks for being with us. The biggest part of this new mandate is this proof of citizenship. Is this something that the president can do by executive order?
It depends on who you ask, but the vast majority of the people I have asked have said no. This is not something the president can do by executive order. This is likely to be challenged as early as today. I'm actually surprised it hasn't been challenged earlier than right this second. But yes, it's likely to be challenged. That is not necessarily something the president can do.
Yeah, we'll get into the challenges here in a minute, but has anybody been able to quantify how big a problem this actually is or was that this is supposed to fix?
Yeah, I mean, several secretaries of state have done analysis on how big of a problem non-citizen registration is, to say nothing of non-citizen voting, which is two different things, right? Non-citizens registering to vote and non-citizens actually casting a ballot. Those are two very different processes. And states like Texas and Georgia have found that it's an extremely small problem. Like we're talking about 0.002% of registrants. So this is an executive order that addresses an incredibly small problem, and may in its turn cause just an incredible amount of chaos.
And voting rights advocates say that this is no doubt going to disenfranchise voters. Talk about how and why it is so problematic.
Right, and so the number of the type of documents that Trump allows to be constitute citizenship for purposes of this executive order and also for purposes of voter registration are very limited, and people may not have immediate access to this, right? VoteBeat has done analysis in states like Arizona that have showed that when states institute policies like this, they really isolate people like college students and minorities and Native Americans, right? And I think in this instance, military members are likely to be quite disenfranchised.
I want to talk about two other parts of all of this. Mail-in ballots would have to be in by election day. Usually they're counted if they're mailed in by election day. And then there's another part about how the votes are counted using technology. Can you briefly explain those two components?
Yeah, absolutely. So mail-in ballots would have to be in by election night. There are a few states that allow ballots to be counted after election day if they are postmarked by the USPS before or on election day. As I said, military ballots are most likely to be affected by this since they come in from overseas. The other thing is that he's trying to restrict the use of QR codes on ballots. And so there are a select few number of states, none in Illinois, but a few in the South and in the Midwest that are not in Illinois, that use QR codes on the ballots to signify the way that someone voted so that a scanner can very easily count those ballots. And so he's restricting those, or he's purporting to have the ability to restrict those from the Election Assistance Commission. And that will also be litigated, but it will be an interesting question to see how that plays out. But experts are sort of torn on whether or not QR codes are good or bad for election systems as a whole.
Final question. The ACLU, for one, says it's going to fight it. You talked about the other legal challenges. What's the odds of this executive order actually holding?
Very small. Every single election expert and legal expert that I've spoken to has said that they are really confident that this is going to be sued into oblivion pretty quickly. I think if nothing else, this is a messaging bill for Donald Trump, and it's a pretty effective one, right? Like, we're all talking about it. We are all talking about what it would mean if these things go into effect. They were not likely to go into effect, but here we are. And I think that he's achieving his goal.
That's a good point. Jessica Huseman, at VoteBeat. Nice to have you on. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much.